The summer before sophomore year, my mom helped me move in early for CF training. She helped me decorate my new single room and listened to my excited chatter about my upcoming adventure. With the scars of her surgery fading, it was with much less trepidation that I said goodbye to her and began the year with a fresh group of coworkers and residents. I couldn't have asked for a better staff. The other CFs and I became fast friends. We would give up our free Saturday nights to stay in with whoever was on duty. We showed movies and threw holiday dinners, stayed up late nights with residents, and dealt with persistent vomit issues. And would you believe we even had fun with that? My resident director was what I describe as an all-star. Always energetic and encouraging, our one-on-one meetings felt more like social hour than a meeting with my boss. Yet she pushed me to make connections with residents, think big with programming ideas, and develop professionally. Without such a close and caring personal relationship, I don't think I would have gotten so much out of the CF experience. As the year progressed, I wasn't merely working with coworkers, but new lifetime friends. January of that year, my mom found out that her cancer had returned. Devastated, I returned from winter break wanting nothing more than to be at home. But you know who the first person I told was? My resident director. I sat on the couch in her office, trying to keep a smile on my face, and told her the most personal part of my life. The next few people I told were my fellow CFs. There were other friends I suppose I was closer to, but the CFs were the ones I thought would really care. They ended up being the ones that checked in to see how I was doing and let me know they were thinking positive thoughts for my mom. It was amazing to see such compassion come from this group of people. Friends I'd only known for 4 months, but already felt like I'd known a lifetime. They were the ones who told me she looked great with her new wig when she came to visit for a break from chemo. They were the ones who called the day she had her mastectomy and told me they were praying for her. Words can't express the gratitude I feel toward them for helping me through such a hard time. Through this experience, we grew even closer as a team and as friends. They were the ones I celebrated with when my mom got the call from her doctor that she was once again cancer-free. Our residents felt the effects of our care for each other as well. We weren't just seen as CFs of our own floors, but rather of the whole community, as we were constantly floating between floors and each other's rooms. Among residents, we took on family roles, like that of the big brother, big sister, and I became known as Mama Page. Dealing with resident concerns became more than just trying to resolve an issue, but rather caring for our family's well-being. I was floored by the way that residents would come apologize to me after being written up for a policy violation. They depended on me to help them through everything from class crises to roommate challenges, and I so enjoyed being there for them. It was with love in my heart and a few tears that I said goodbye to my community at the end of the year. Halfway through my junior year, I was accepted as an assistant resident director in a new community in Dunn Hall. I missed my old community so much that I wasn't sure I'd truly find my place in the new dorm. Here was this community and staff who'd known each other for half a year, and I was waltzing in the newbie position with more responsibility than I had ever had. I was expecting to have to load on the charm and smiles to become accepted in this new place. I expected it to be a slow and gradual process. Instead, I was overwhelmed by the warm welcome I received. Instead of me being the one to create the caring atmosphere, the residents and staff had already generated it for me. My team organized a pottery painting trip and bug go night just to get to know me. A resident sat down in my room one afternoon after I moved in and called in anyone who walked by the room to come meet me. Word spread of my love of baking, and residents began to approach me to bake with them, or more often than not, bake for them. The CFs and I began to hang out outside of formal staff functions. Within a month, Dunn Hall was my home, and the residents and staff, my new family. I suppose my favorite moment of that year was connecting with a resident on my floor who I learned I had something in common with. His mom was battling lung cancer, though it was something he hadn't shared with anyone. My hall director had shared this information with me with the hope that I could check in with him to see how his mom was doing. It was a bit awkward to approach. "Hey, did you know my mom had cancer too?" But suddenly I saw him relax with the relief of having someone to talk to about her. I admired the way in which he opened up to me, and I valued the ability to be that person that he felt he could talk to about it. I kept what he told me confidential, but continued to check in with him to see how his mom was doing. I called my mom every day those first few months and told her of the new adventures I was having and new friends I was making. I think it broke her heart to bring me down again. That March, her cancer returned with a vengeance. Having metastasized, the doctor dealt us a harsh blow that she was past the point of curing. Surgeries and chemo would never again rid her body of the malignant cells that inhabited her insides. Despite assurance that chemo could at least keep her tumors from getting any worse, I began to face thoughts of my mom's mortality. It devastated me to think of her not being around to play with my children, fix my veil at my wedding, or snap photos of me at graduation. What would I do without my mom? After getting the news, I was stuck at school for a few weeks before I could go home and see her. I was a mess. My old staff of best friends was gone, and though I was building good relationships with my new Dunn staff, I wasn't sure if they needed to hear my sob story about her. But remembering how much it helped to have people supporting me, I opened up to a couple of my CFs the first night I heard. After hugging me and apologizing and offering to be there any way I needed, they took me out for a fun night to forget about my troubles. I was so grateful to them. They continued to check in to see how things were going and offer their support. I was so struck by how much compassion they showed to me. I also shared the news with my resident director. After listening to me express my worries, she slyly suggested we move our next one-on-one meeting to get pedicures. I was confused at first, and then realized it was her way of pampering me a bit to alleviate some of the stress I was feeling. Every time we were together after that, she'd ask to see how my mom was feeling. Again, I felt so cared for. Well, it's a new staff and a new year and done. I made the choice to tell everyone about my mom's cancer before the year started. There was a time again this year that I struggled with morbid thoughts and fear for her future, and my staff was again there for me with hugs, Kleenex, and more support than I could ask for. We got good news about my mom's cancer. While it will never completely go away, and she'll have to be on some kind of treatment for the rest of her life, she's responding to chemo well for now. Her hair even started to grow back, kind of defying the poison that's pumping through her veins every week. This has given me motivation to share my story with the community, and I had an opportunity to do that a few weeks ago with one of my CFs when we donated our hair to a program that makes wigs for women with cancer. We made a program out of the event, inviting residents to enter a raffle to cut our hair, and I shared with them why the cause was so close to my heart. I think residents, life staff are some of the most caring people I've ever met. I'm awed and humbled by the way all of us put our residents first, forming friendships and caring for those who are struggling or succeeding through the college experience. The work you do is really important. Look at the difference it has made in my story, and think about all the similar stories that your residents and staff have. Perhaps they won't all get up in front of a couple hundred RAs and share their story, but the stories remain nonetheless, hidden behind mountains of gratitude. So on behalf of all of those lives that you have touched, thank you. Thank you for being there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring.